How's it going, everyone? Mike here. So I've got a great video for you guys today. We're going to be talking about mushroom substrate, mushroom bagging machines, and the options we have available to us in 2024. And I'll tell you, there's a myriad of options. There's so many different ways that you can approach cultivating mushrooms now in 2024. The game has changed a lot since I first got into it many years ago. And I've seen the evolution of technology in this industry, different guys coming out with groundbreaking ideas, and someone's always doing something new and inventive. Okay, so I just want to update everybody about kind of what's going on nowadays in the world of specialty gourmet mushroom cultivation. I imagine this is going to continue to evolve over the years, and it's only going to get better. People are making some really awesome stuff, and there's so many options available. Like I said, absolute myriad of options available. And it all comes down to like what kind of resources you're using, what type of substrate you are using, how many people you have employed at your farm, how your farm is set up. This is all contextual. So I want to tell you guys there's not a right or wrong way to do this. You want to think about which method you can implement on your farm and what would basically just suit your farm the best, okay? Because it's going to be up to you to make the decision to see what's going to fit you best, because there are so many options out there. I've actually built some of my old mushroom bagging equipment, and I've done it by hand. And like I've got some nice industrial equipment too that I've used, and I'm going to show you all of that in this video, and we're going to go over all these different methods and options that are out there. But let's just start with my mushroom bagger that I made, and I got the idea actually years ago from another mushroom farmer. Their farm is Mossy Creek Mushrooms, and their original bagging machine was Thor. Okay, many of you guys may know what I'm talking about. They actually have a new redesigned Thor, and I'm going to talk about that in this video, but there's so many other options. Okay, so me and one of my friends that used to work for me made our own version of Thor many years ago. Okay, so here's a clip of my own version of Thor. Check it out. Okay, everyone, so check this out. Here's the bagger we made. Basically, this is a machine that is adding the dry material, our pelletized wood pellets and soybean hulls, with the proper amount of water to the mushroom bags, all by actuating a foot pedal. And this thing could basically make bags as fast as you could pick them up, stick them under the machine, hit the foot pedal, and then set them down. And here's a shot of it from the front. Basically, we had two hoppers above it. They were for dry material, and we actually had two sides you could work on there. You could see it was like a double barrel bagger. And to the far right, if you look, there's a barrel, and that barrel is the water tower. It's kind of hidden in this picture right here. I didn't really have a good shot of it, but that is the reservoir that basically held our water. And we had pneumatic valves, different valves for both our wet and dry materials. Now, here's a shot from inside the hoppers. And you can see we had two sides to it there. We took our time building these, so we'd get the pellets to drop down nice and smooth and easy. This was a really nice piece of equipment we had built, and this was just all in my old garage. And the whole system worked great, though. This is basically where we would add the wood pellets and the soybean hulls. And it was cool, too, because you could add whatever mixture you wanted, whatever ratio you wanted. And I'm just going to run this clip of dispensing it one more time just so you can see this machine in action. Many of these machines too that are pneumatic nowadays work in a similar fashion. There's typically some way to distribute water, and some way to distribute the pellets. But there's a lot of different options out there today, and that's what we're going to talk about. All right, everyone, so cool machine, right? Now, like I said, I got that idea from Mossy Creek Mushrooms many years ago, and they had created this thing called Thor, all right? Super cool piece of equipment, and like I said, they have a new Thor now. I'm gonna show you pictures of the new Thor. I'm gonna talk about that, and I'm gonna talk about some of these different other methods other growers and other companies have come out with their bagging machines too, because like I said, this technology has been refined over the years, and there's a lot of ways you can kind of look at it and just trying to decide which one you want to use or if you want to use one, so because you don't even have to use one. So we're going to talk about all that. The first thing I like to think about is what type of substrate are you using? Okay, so are you using pellets or are you going to use sawdust? All right, because that's going to be the number one determining factor. Now, And also stay tuned to the end of the video too, because if you're not gonna use a bagger at all, I'm gonna give you another option. And this is super slick. I may even use this one day. I kind of want to test it and just see what it's like. And but I'm just want to. I always leave the options open for myself. So we're gonna talk about that at the end. But first, like I said, you want to decide pellets or sawdust. Those are the two main things to kind of decide what you're gonna do. Once you've chose what you're gonna use, pellets or sawdust, that'll determine whether you're going to use one of these pellet baggers or a batch mixer, okay? So these pellet baggers, there's different versions, and we're going to go over those today, or you can make your own, you know. Now, batch mixers, okay, there's lots of different batch mixers out there too, and there are actually attachments that you can get, like a pneumatic attachment, that you can make it just like the bagging machine, similar to what I showed. But you will, like, it'll have a spout and a little valve and everything that works with like an actuator. But you can use actual sawdust in it. It doesn't have to be for pellets. You could put anything in it. You could put compost, you could put chopped up straw, all sorts of stuff, whatever you want to put in the batch mixer. So that's one thing that's neat about a batch mixer, I will say that. So you want to think basically, are you using pellets or are you using some type of super raw material that you're going to have to run through a batch mixer? So that's number one, okay? Once you've determined that, and we're just going to talk about pellets hypothetically first, okay? Because that's what I showed you guys. I cultivate with pellets currently, at least, and that's how I built that first machine, was for pellets. That's how Thor was designed, was for pellets. I'm going to show you another one called Fenrir. Fenrir is one that is an auger-based system that Main Cap and Stem has developed. And I'm also going to talk about Myers Mushrooms a little bit. Myers Mushrooms is an awesome mushroom company. They make equipment, and they have a nice industrial type of pellet bagging machine. All right. Now, taking all these into consideration, like I said, I'm going to show you photos of each one individually, and we'll talk about it. There's a lot of different things that some of them may have. There's pros and cons to each one. Some of them are cheaper than others. Some of them are more expensive than others. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. If you're going to make your own, I will say it's a lot of work. I understand being a do-it-yourselfer. I did it many years ago because there weren't as many options out back then as there are now, okay? I used a 4-inch valve for my dry material, and I used a 3-inch valve for my water, just so everyone knows. And when I say I used a 3-inch valve for my water, I used a knife valve system, and I had 2 valves for it basically. Like I had the water tower above, okay? And then I had these 2 valves set up. The bottom valve was always closed, okay, when I wasn't messing with the foot pedal, okay? And the top valve was open, okay? So what that would do, it would let the water go down where it would fill the whole thing up, like the whole tube was full. And as soon as I would actuate the foot pedal, that top valve would shut as the bottom valve would open. Okay, so it would let that water come out volumetrically, and it would work super fast. So that was how I would get the right amount of water to come out. And I also had my pellets set up the exact same way. Bottom valve would be shut, top valve would be open, and they would work simultaneously. And basically everything was volumetric, and I had it pre-measured and predetermined. Mine was not adjustable. Some of these ones are adjustable, okay? So we'll talk about that a little bit too. So if you are a do-it-yourselfer and you want to make one, you can. I recommend 3-inch valves for the dry material. 4-inch valves for the dry material, 3-inch valves for the water. If you're going to make it volumetric, for the water, you can also use these electronic meters, and you can get away with like 1 valve in a larger reservoir if you wanted. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, they also have these expansion tanks, these water expansion tanks that some people are using. So that's an option you can incorporate too. That is in the new version of Thor. So I just want to let you know there is a ton of options, but let's look at Thor just so you guys can see Thor. Okay, everyone, so here is the revised version of Thor. This is like the one Mossy Creek came out with years ago. Now it's Man of War Innovations who makes it. One of the employees that used to work at Mossy Creek, he now owns Man of War Innovations, and they pre-assemble them, ship them fully assembled. It's really cool nowadays. I think this is a great option. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about this one, but you can also get this at Mushroom Media online, I believe. All right, everyone. So that is the new Thor, and I'm just going to talk about this one first because it's most similar to what I made years ago. And Thor was like the OG pellet bagger. Mossy Creek, it was Ben and Andrew. They had come out and told the world on YouTube how they made their mushroom bagger, and so then I went from their design and just kind of built off of that and made my own. And other people have built their own design, but that's why I wanted to show Thor first because they've refined theirs over the years, and it's been now, I believe, with Man of War Innovations that is truly behind all this currently with Thor and stuff like that, the new version. And they work with Mushroom Media Online too, as far as distributing this piece of equipment. So if you're interested in checking out the Thor machine, there's videos of it on manofwarinnovations.com and mushroommediaonline.com, and I'm sure you can just search on YouTube for the new Thor and you will be able to find it. And I'm not affiliated with any of these guys, but it's a cool piece of equipment. I may use it here on the farm. I'm just undecided what bagger I want to use here, and I think that's a cool one. I like Thor personally because nowadays they're coming pre-assembled, so that's super cool. So you can basically just order this thing. I think it says on the website you got to put the casters on it and basically like just hook your water up and stuff, but then you're ready to rock and roll, you know, for the most part. So I think that's super sweet. It's also really fast. Okay, it's one of the fastest baggers on the market. You can basically, as quick as you can pick a bag up, put it under the machine, and you know, hit the button, you're ready to rock and roll, and it says like 6 seconds or so on the website. And the thing of it is that is comparable to what I was making too when I had the pneumatic baggers. The pneumatic ones are currently the fastest. Okay, so if speed is what you're truly after, look into the pneumatic ones. The auger-based system that I'm going to show you next isn't as fast, but you can add multiple heads to that system, so I'll show you that too. So there's just so many ways you can look at this. So like I said in the beginning, this is all contextual. But the new Thor is cool, okay? So look into that as an option if you're interested. But now let's check out the Fenrir, okay? So I'm gonna show you Fenrir. Okay, everyone, so this is the Fenrir, the auger-based system that MainCap and Stem has designed and they sell. Now, this works basically by a computer control and a scale with an auger that all works together. Basically, the auger distributes the pellets from above, and the scale below weighs them, and it distributes the right amount of water into your bag. And you do have to put all this together yourself. There's also a 3D printed like a little head that mounts onto your hopper, and that's what distributes everything. But this is a really cool system. I like how this works together. It's a little bit slower, but the way to speed it up is to add multiple heads. Okay, so here's a photo of the Fenrir system using multiple heads. And if you want to see this thing in action, go to the MainCap and Stem website because it is really cool. They've built this amazing contraption called the Octashroom, I believe is what they call it, but they have 4 of these heads mounted on each side of this machine they built, and there's basically 8 heads, I believe, running on this Octashroom thing. So it's really cool. Go check out their website, and here's a picture of the Fenrir bagger in action, and you can see there's multiple distribution heads on this setup right here. And like I said, it's an auger-based system. It'll add your pellets and your water, and it's all computer controlled. Okay, everyone, so that was the Fenrir that MainCap and Stem offers. And like I said, that is an auger-based system. It's an electronically controlled auger-based system. It's a little bit slower if you just buy one head, but if you buy multiple heads, that like takes it to the next level and just changes everything. And so go to the MainCap and Stem website and look at this thing if you're interested, because those little photos that I show there, it's cool just to see the pictures and see how it kind of is set up, but actually seeing that thing in action is something else. That Octashroom thing that they had that video of, they had 4 of those heads mounted on each side of the machine that they had built, and they had multiple people all working together around this machine, and you can just tell it was an efficient, streamlined operation. And it was just really neat to see how they incorporated that. And that's a system that they do so, like I said, on their website. So check it out if you're interested. Another thing you can use, or another option you can use, is the Myers Mushrooms pneumatic bagger. He has built a basically large industrial sized pneumatic bagger as well. And it comes all pre-assembled, ready to rock and roll. It's a little more pricey than the other systems, but it's high quality. So I want to show you guys this one, and his customer service is top notch too. So check these out. Okay, everyone, so these are the ones that Myers Mushroom sells and offers. They're all pre-assembled. They're pretty large steel units, so go to their website and check everything out about them. But like I said, he's got great customer service and builds quality equipment. Okay, everyone, cool. So that is Myers Mushroom's pneumatic bagger. Like I said, that one comes pre-assembled. It's a pretty large steel unit, and Eric's customer service at Myers Mushrooms is top-notch. He builds really good quality equipment. He's been in the game for a while, so definitely check it out if you're interested. I think it's a good bagger to go with as well. Now, I want to kind of talk to everyone about another option, and this is if you're using sawdust, all right? Some people will go to the sawmill and pick up sawdust and actually just use raw sawdust. Some of you may also even just use other materials like compost and whatnot. And if you're using different materials like this, or something that needs to go through something like a batch mixer, that would be your next option, would be to use a batch mixer, because otherwise you might use a shovel to mix this stuff up if you're using, raw sawdust or compost or something like that. But if you have some type of mixing equipment, then it can make everything a lot easier on you, and you can streamline things faster. So I have done some growing with compost and even just raw sawdust. So I decided I wanted to try to get a batch mixer if I had the option. And when I owned my mushroom shop, I did have a customer come in one day, and he was a mushroom farmer, believe it or not. And he told me he owned a batch mixer that he bought from China, and it was cheap, okay, when he bought it years ago. And he was actually just trying to sell it and get rid of it. So I actually bought it from him secondhand, and then I got this little batch mixer, and I like it. So like I said, there's benefits to a batch mixer, because if you're using these raw materials, you can just dump them in there and it mix up whatever you want. You can just add the water in, you just spray water in there. So let me show everyone my little batch mixer and what a batch mixer is. All right, everyone, so here's a photo of my batch mixer. Basically, it's a stainless tank, and there's a motor on the side that turns an auger, and there's a spout on the other end that distributes the material. And I'm going to show you that other side of this in just a moment here. So here's the spout where the material comes out, and you basically just put your raw material in the top of this machine, and you add your water in the top of this machine. You turn it on and you let it mix up. So I'm going to show you a clip of it running. Here's a clip of it running. Like I said, you can add anything to this. This is a really nice piece of industrial equipment, and it's really good for raw sawdust and raw materials. All right, everyone, so that is a batch mixer. I just want to say that is another option if you're using, like I said, raw sawdust, compost, or some type of raw substrate material that really needs to get mixed up like that, and you can't run through one of these other pellet-based systems. So that's why you would incorporate a batch mixer. Now, the way mine is currently set up, I don't have a pneumatic attachment for it or anything. It's just like a little spout that you could open up and shut. So you gotta figure out a way to work with one that you have if you don't have a pneumatic attachment on it. It can make distributing the stuff into a bag tricky. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You'd have to develop a system yourself. Sometimes I would open it and catch it in a bag and just move it out of the way, and grab another bag, catch more in that one, and I'd have like a tote below that would catch the runoff material that I'd be missing in between grabbing bags. But to alleviate that problem, Main Cap and Stem actually developed this pneumatic system to distribute stuff from a batch mixer. So I'm just going to show you a photo of this. So if you do own a batch mixer and you want one of these head attachments for it that is all controlled and measured and stuff, you can go this route, all right? I think it's pretty slick. Check it out. All right, everyone, so this is the pneumatic attachment that Main Cap and Stem sells that people can use for batch mixers to basically distribute your material into the bag at the right amounts. They make these, I believe, for 5 and 10 pound bags. Go to the Main Cap and Stem website if you're interested in using something like this, just to get the full details on that. But this is a system they offer, and I think it's pretty cool. Okay, cool. So like I said, that is the pneumatic attachment head for batch mixers if you're using a batch mixer that Main Cap and Stem offers. I think there might be other companies that sell stuff like this too. I know Myers Mushrooms offers some type of knife valve they sell. I'm not really sure though who's got the best ones out there, but I want to say if you do have a batch mixer or you're thinking about going the route with a batch mixer and you don't know how you're going to distribute your material into your bags yet, you could either like make your own pneumatic head, or you could buy one from one of these guys, or you could just use something simple, like I said, by sticking a tote under it, grabbing bags, catching what you can in your hand, putting that bag up on a table, grabbing another bag, catching it again, putting that bag up on a table, and then eventually once your tote for your runoff material starts getting kind of full, just take it and dump it back up in your mixer. So I've done that before too, if you're just working by yourself or whatever. There's a lot of different options out there. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about using a batch mixer or you are using a batch mixer, because like I said, if you're not using pellets or if you're just limited to whatever raw materials you have, like if you're just using raw sawdust or compost, sometimes your batch mixer is your only option. Now, okay, that's pretty much it for the different types of baggers that you can use, like I said, pelletized or a batch mixer, or you can make these things by hand. Okay, you could use the old sweat equity, okay, put in the old fashion labor, you know, it's the way to do it. And I'll just say, a lot of times then, if you just have like a concrete slab or something, you could put your, if you have a lot of sawdust, you could put that on there, you could mix it up with your soybean hulls, literally just spray it with water and get it to field capacity, okay? You can do that if you're working with raw materials. And field capacity is basically where you will just hydrate the substrate and you squeeze it to where pretty much no water comes out. You might get a couple little droplets coming out, but you don't want water really gushing out of that thing, okay? You want it pretty much where you can squeeze it and basically nothing's coming out of there, where it feels hydrated but nothing's coming out, if that makes sense, okay? So that's field capacity, and if you're doing it by hand, that's one way to do it. And I've even seen people get like swimming pools, like those little tiny swimming pools you can get at the hardware store for like $10 or whatever, 20 bucks or whatever. And I've seen people fill those up, mix stuff up with a shovel or pitchfork or whatever, hydrate it, bring it to field capacity, then use like a scoop, put it in a bag. Now, if you want to use pellets, okay, and you want to do it by hand, you can also use scoops. I would have times where if I wouldn't be at the farm and I had somebody working for me and they were using one of my pieces of machinery or equipment, let's just say they were using the pellet bagger and something broke on it or they had a clog and they were like, Mike, what do I do? And I wasn't there. I had one thing they could do, and this is super slick. So if you're a guy that likes to keep things as simple and as cheap as possible, this is for you, okay? So what you do is you just get a cup, all right, or a pitcher. If you get a pitcher, make sure you select the right size one and just mark a line around it for the level of pellets you want to go in there for your dry material and the level of water you want to go in there, okay? And you can just take a scoop of dry material then up to that line, dump that into your mushroom bag, then take a scoop of your water, fill it up to that line, and then dump that into your mushroom bag. Volumetrically, 1-for-1, 1-to-1, dry material to water is the perfect mixture, okay? Like I said, you can use a pitcher for that, or you can just use a simple cup. Like I said, I remember specifically I had an employee working for me and I couldn't make it back to the farm. The pellet machine broke down and he was like, Mike, what do I do? And I was like, I know exactly what to do. I was like, go to the gas station down the road. Okay, we had this convenient mart, and I was living in the Midwest. We had Casey's gas stations was the thing. And it was a Casey's, I believe it was I think it was the 40-ounce cup I had him using, okay? And that was perfect for the 5-pound bags. He could take one cup of the dry material, put that in the bag, and then 1 scoop of water and just put it in the bag. And that's all you gotta do for the 5-pound bag. And then I told him to double it up for a 10-pound bag, basically 2 scoops, you know? But I basically was like, hey man, just go to the gas station, get yourself a soda or get yourself an extra cup, drink the soda, and then use the cup, okay? And that's what he did. And that's great for someone, like I said, that wants to keep it simple, or if you ever have an equipment failure or something like that. And it's also cheap, okay? You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on a bagger. You could literally just use a cup, all right? Like I said, 1-to-1, dry material to water with pelletized material. Now, we have one more option, okay? Now, this is new. This is from a company called 10 Mile Mushrooms. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. His name is Kyle Beaver. He has an Instagram too, so go check out like their Facebook, their Instagram, their website. But they make these things called master bricks. And I believe they offer them for like Masters Mix and I even think Coco Core and like Verm and stuff. But check out their website on all these. But I know they do offer them for the soybean hull and sawdust mixture. Basically what it is, it's a brick that is already in a bag of the dry material. And all you have to do, it's a compressed brick. So there's like less storage space and it's already in the bag. All you have to do as the farmer then is add water to the bag, hydrate the material, and then you would just sterilize it like normal. The cool thing is, I think about it, is you don't have to, there's no more sourcing the pellets or your sawdust. You don't have to worry about a bagging machine or anything like that. You just have to add water to the bag. So this can potentially cut down labor on your farm because you don't have to source the materials or worry about equipment, like I said. And it can also cut down labor with people working and just take, you'll use less time basically when you're making bags. Because like I said, all you gotta do is add water and then sterilize it. So I think this is a cool option too, even for people that are limited on resources. And why I said I wanna keep my options open, I may even try some of these out from Kyle over there at 10 Mile Mushrooms, because me being up in this really rural area of the Rocky Mountains, it's interesting. I can actually get my pellets and soybean hulls delivered to me here from a feed store, but it's fairly far away, but they do make deliveries out to my area and I can actually get them delivered to me, which is sweet. I do have to spend a little more money on the raw materials. Where I came from originally in the Midwest, Illinois, Missouri area near St. Louis, sawdust, soybean hulls were cheap there because that's like the breadbasket of the United States. There's lots of wood being used and worked with there, and lots of mills and stuff. And that, like I said, the breadbasket of the United States as far as agriculture is concerned. There's all sorts of soybean fields and stuff like that there. So soybean hull was really easily available in the Midwest. Here in the Rocky Mountains, not so much, okay? So you gotta spend a little more money for it here. And I'm just gonna have to weigh my cost options and everything like that to see what is truly the best option for me. And I haven't done that here yet, but I actually am gonna make some bags here just with you guys on the channel just to show you how to make bags. But I wanted to tell you guys about Kyle Beaver's options over at 10 Mile Mushrooms, because I just think that is cool for people who are limited on materials, or if you don't want to use a bagging machine and you don't want to make them yourself and you just want to put water in a bag. I think it makes it nice and slick and simple. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. I just wanted to give you the options that we have available to us in 2024, because like I said, we have a myriad of options available to us as far as making mushroom substrate bags. There's a lot of ways you can go about it. If you guys found this video helpful and informative, please drop this video a like, and any questions, comments, put it in the comments section below and I will totally address those and get back to you guys. But thanks for tuning in today, and I will catch you guys on the next one.